Welcome back as we continue my deep dive series as we take a look at another NFL team and we try to come up with a realistic expectation and prediction for them going into the 2022 NFL season. Now, I do each of these videos by not a power rankings, but by where I think they will fall in the draft order from 1st to 32 or 32nd, I suppose, because we do an NFL mock draft at the end of this for 2023 because I'm kind of a draft channel. I am who I am, but we're going to be continuing this series with the Houston Texans because, man, a few coaching changes. Davis Mills got you thinking maybe you aren't drafting quarterback next year, but we're going to go ahead and dive into the roster and talk about their scheme quite a little bit. By the way, what's crack-a-lackin'? I'm your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know so. I bet you that made you say, hey, I'm going to stay on the video. Broshmo, that sounds like a brilliant football mind there. I ain't half bad, though, I promise. But Lovie Smith is the head coach of the Houston Texans, but we're going to be talking about the offense first, and the offense is going to be all about our boy Pep Hamilton. This cat has a history of developing young quarterbacks, dating back to his days in Indianapolis with Andrew Luck, to even recently with Justin Herbert over there in LA. Now, he's known for his flexibility and just the overall abundance of his playbook. It's pretty girthy. It really is. The question is how much of that playbook is he going to be willing to open up for Davis Mills in year two? Because he's shown, man, if he's not confident in his personnel or in his quarterback, that he won't open the playbook up for him. And we kind of saw that in Mills' rookie year, as most coaches traditionally do with rookies. They don't open up the playbook for them. Matter of fact, they try to keep them away from making throws over the middle because those are the most dangerous throws. Instead, they kind of focused with Mills toward the sideline. They weren't afraid to let him air it out. Like, they would take these low-risk concepts such as like sails and floods and have him just throw the ball toward the sideline, which essentially just kind of gives him a high-low type of read, and it gives the defender a very small window to actually make a play, or at least a consequential play to the offense. So the question is, how will he open this up for Davis Mills? 7 of his 10 picks came over the middle. Will he be confident over the middle with Davis Mills? We'll see. Davis Mills was very promising, I will say that, in year one. And he's actually going to have a lot of speed, like a lot of speed at receiver. You have Brandon Cooks. Nico Collins is pretty fast for a big guy. They just drafted John Mechie, who was a speedster. Phil Dorsett, speed is legit. The only thing about his game, you got Chris Conley, even at tight end, Brevin Jordan be more of a receiving tight end there, and I think they're going to want to take advantage of one-on-one matchups, one-on-one coverage. The question is, can Mills find it? It's a big question. Now, I expect this team to really, especially after how they drafted, that they really want to focus on the run and get it more physical. Kenyon Green, they get a nice physical body there at guard. They brought in AJ Cann, who I don't really love as a pass protector, but he is one of these bullish run blockers. And they also bring in a more physical back in the 4th round in Damian Pierce, a nice low center of gravity type of guy. Also has one of my favorite quotes from the combine as he was doing the bench press. Knocking him out. He's getting up there. He's like, I think he hit like 20 or 22, and the spotter, he goes to help him out. He's struggling, and he yells out, cries out to his spotter, "Don't touch that." Explicit. One of my favorite quotes, man. I really dug Damian Pierce during the draft process. This team, though, they want to run the ball because they want to set up the play action. They want to put themselves in better situations to really enable that play action. This is going to be a very gap blocking scheme, heavy when it comes to the run game. I think they ran gap concepts, or like gap blocking concepts on over like 60% of their running plays last year. Don't really see that changing. It just means they need to have more success in the run game if they really want to truly, I don't know why I said it that way, truly utilize the play action. Because last year there was no one with 5 or more carries that had over 3.5 yards per carry. Everyone was under that number. Matter of fact, they only had 7 running plays that went for over 15 yards last year. So that's something that needs to change. So let's go ahead, get into the nitty gritty with Davis Mills, man. I'm excited to see year 2 Davis Mills. He really like coming out of Stanford. He was just a guy with an exceptional, like a very small sample size. He had if you were to put his arm strength on a 1 to 10 scale, I would say it was like a 7. I think he's got a reasonably good arm. He could accurately throw to every level of the field. It's just when you have that small of a sample size and the decision making wasn't always like top notch, then you're gonna be like, that's not a guy you want to roll the dice with, or you feel better about that on day 2, and that's what they did. They ended up taking him in the 3rd round. So I thought he was pretty impressive. We'll see more of him this year. I don't expect guys like Kyle Allen and Jeff Driscoll and Kevin Hogan. Will you make the roster? I don't think so. I don't expect those guys to really cut into it. I think this is going to be Mills' team all the way through, of course, except for injury, if that were the case. Like I said, this team wants to run the football. They bring in Marlon Mack, but I think they will still rely a bit heavy on Rex Burkhead just because of his versatility in the passing game. Then they got Damian Pierce, who has a very similar skill set as what he can do in the passing game and what he brings as a runner. Looking at they got Royce Freeman. I thought that's kind of hot. I don't know. Yeah, that's real hot and steamy. But does Freeman make the roster? I feel like he does. They could go with Darius Anderson, who's got a lot more speed to him. He'd be like the speed back. He's very different than what they have in Pierce, Burkhead, and Mack. I don't know. That'd be interesting. They got Andy Janovic. Oh gosh, I'm terrible at pronouncing names. But they bring him in who's one of the more higher profile fullbacks in the league. So yeah, this team wants to run the football. I think that's why they drafted in the 5th round Tegan Quintarian. Oh, terrible. Oregon State's tight end, who's more of a blocking guy. Really, the only time he saw looks in the passing game was in the red zone. So yeah, the dude is a blocking guy. But they have weapons, man. Brandon Cooks is one of the, I dare to say, one of the best receivers in the league to be kind of a journeyman, or at least treated as such. Feels like he's been all around the league, from the Saints to the Patriots to the Rams. I might be even missing another team in there. But he's been very good wherever he went. Nico Collins is kind of your girthy receiver, your big body receiver. Doesn't mean he doesn't have speed. I think he's got good long field speed. He really he's a guy that can separate on the intermediate to longer routes. Then I really like John Mechie. Has to be the slot guy, right? Like Chris Moore, but you rather have the speed of a guy like Mechie. You got Chris Conley and Philip Dorsett. Are there any other guys that can maybe sneak in on the roster? I don't know, man. Maybe they. I thought Jalen Camp was moving to tight end. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I think those 6 you see, the 6 you see here, like right here, are gonna be the guys that they decide to keep. Brevin Jordan, he actually flashed a bit last year, so I think expect him to be very involved. But I said this team wants to run the football. Laramie Tunzel, they're very confident with Titus Howard at right tackle. I thought they were going to maybe stick with him at left guard. Actually, his best games last year came at left tackle, which was kind of surprising. But I think they're just going to be like, hey, man, this is kind of a do or die year for you, brother. See how it goes. So we'll see. I think he's definitely an average starter. Justin Britt, man, it's good to see him healthy again. He looks like he's going to be the starter at center, because you do not want Jimmy Morrissey coming in and seeing playing time. Then you also got AJ Cann, who Max Sharpen, it looks like they're kind of done with what they hope to get from him. They're gonna be like, yeah, you know what? Okay, we missed on him. It is what it is. Austin Deculus is actually a pretty solid, was a solid tackle there at LSU, and he's just gonna be good depth with Charlie Heck, who actually I didn't think played. I thought he played pretty well last year when called upon. They also bring in Justin McCray, Cedric Ogabihi. My gosh, I suck at names, but Journey, for all intents and purposes, a Journey guy. Just looking at the rest of the roster here. I like this team's taking a step forward. Yes, can confirm. It really, I think, boils down to how you feel like Davis Mills will do in year 2, because I think he's going to be in shootouts. I don't think the defense is that good. We'll get into the defense in a minute, but I think he's going to be asked to come in and have to play in shootouts. How well will the running game be to enable the play action? Because like you can get away, at least in the first half, with the play action working while your running game is just balls. That won't fly in the second half. They're not gonna stack the box and buy into your run game if the first half you couldn't get it off the floor. So we'll see. They got better receiver. Oh, hey, Terry McLaurin's out there, man. Maybe make a trade. I don't know, but it might be a little pricey. But definitely interesting. I'm very encouraged by this offense of the Texans and what they got with Hamilton there at OC. And then they don't have currently the DC. There's a vacancy there, but it's going to be Lovie Smith's defense. And I guess we could talk about what Lovie Smith likes to do, as he's known as the Tampa 2 guy, one of the few Tampa 2 guys we got in the NFL. But additions this offseason to guys like drafted Derrick Stanley, Jalen Pitre. They went out and signed Steven Nelson. These guys are more man coverage players. Tells me like, oh man, I think they're good. Shoot, they even drafted Christian Harris, who's probably one of the better man coverage linebackers in the draft. That tells me that, hey, we're going to be running a lot of man. We're going to have a lot of sub-package sets, because, I mean, that's something the NFL's kind of been moving more towards as it became more of a passing league anyway. But I think we're going to see a lot of, like, cover 5 on maybe, like, third and longs if they can enable that, because they actually made an effort to get better at the pass rush. So, if you're not familiar with cover 5, it's basically middle school pickup defense. That's what it is, like a pickup game defense. It's basically, hey, we got 2 safeties and everyone else is playing man. Essentially, it's where they're gonna have like their 4 or 5 coverage guys underneath playing man coverage. So I mean, picking up Derek Stanley and Steven Nelson, that makes a ton of sense. That's something that they want to do. This will require a better pass rush. They did go out and try to get this pass rush to be better with the additions of a very reliable duo in Jerry Hughes and Mario Addison, who feels like they've been together forever. That feels like that's been a pair in the league for like 10 years. It really does. They went out and got was it, I'm gonna butcher his name, Ogbo Okonkwo. Oh man, I was listening to it earlier, so I won't butcher it. Okonkwo. Oh man, I'm just gonna call him Ogbo. Former Oklahoma edge rusher. Actually cemented or carved out a pretty good role for himself last season with the Rams as a rotational pass rusher, maybe a guy that takes the next step. You still got Jonathan Grenard, who kind of had a breakout season last year. Didn't even see over 500 snaps. Still was very substantial to the pass rush. So you're hoping guys like that come in and just contribute immediately. They also bring in Jordan Jenkins. I wouldn't be too excited about that. He kind of is what he is. When it comes to the pass rush on the interior, you're hoping for Ross Blacklock to finally take a step, do something, just do something. But they did draft one of my favorite physical specimens on the interior in Thomas Booker out of Stanford. Like this cat, he's a penetrator. He could win a lot of one-on-one matchups. You just tell him to go and get after it. So I expect to see some Thomas Booker this season. So we'll see. We'll see if the pass rush does get better. I mean, that's gonna be a concern of mine. Will this pass rush take the next step up? I mean, honestly, I have more faith in the pass rush than I do the run defense. The run defense still feels like it's going to be just god awful. It really does. And that's just not good. That's not good. That's not good for a team that's like, hey man, we got coverage, guys, but if teams are able to get these second or third and shorts, then they can really do whatever they want. It's safety. They literally have, it feels like, all the same guys. It's a bunch of box and slot guys. They really have no free roaming guys I would have faith in to be deep. So I mean, I'm not too surprised by that. Again, you're dealing with like a Tampa 2 defense, so you're really playing split high coverage. So even then, like, do you trust those guys? Because, like, for me, like, I guess this is where, let's start with the secondary. So with Jalen Pitre, I would love this dude in the slot. I think that's a spot where you just want him around the line of scrimmage. The guy has a nose for the football. He can impact the game in terms of blitzing. He can impact the game in terms of what he can do as a run stuffer. I feel like it's kind of a disservice not to have him around the line of scrimmage. But to counter that, Tavier Thomas was very good in the slot last season. Very good. Desmond Keaton, probably more of a slot player anyway, but he's probably going to end up playing safety. They tried to play him at corner last year. That was just, I don't know why even. Why? Even Eric Murray's kind of in a similar mold to those guys. Like, he's more of this slot box option. So it's going to be very interesting. They bring in Terrence Brooks, who's more of a depth special teamer type of guy. It's going to be interesting. MJ Stewart's there. He's there. But I really do like the outside corner position. I mean, Steven Nelson and Derek Stingley, I feel really, really good about. They also bring in Fabian Moreau, who, you don't really want that cat starting, but I think he is someone that you don't mind being a good, like, outside corner 3 that could come in and help the rotation. They also have Isaac Yiadom. Sorry, I almost threw up in my mouth. Ugh. So, like, okay, I like their first 3 guys they got there at the corner position, but yeah, I still like yes, this team has a ways to go in a lot of departments, but this is a big step in the right direction. We talked a bit about the pass rush. I guess we could kind of get into a bit more. I really like Ogbo. Jerry Hughes is going to be very good as a rotation player. You can say the same about Mario Addison. They bring in Rasheem Green, who's coming off of a very funky stay in Seattle, where it was like, hey, play Y9. Hey, you're playing 5 tech, now 3 tech, haha. They had him play a variety of different roles around the offensive or defensive line. It wasn't good. Grenard, it'll be interesting to see what he can do this year, but nice reliable vet in Jordan Jenkins, who you really don't want to start, just want to have there on the roster just in case. Ain't half bad. You see this cat here, he's kind of like faded off the screen, but he's a UDFA, Troy Hairston, at Central Michigan. He is a very undersized edge rusher, but he could be I don't think he makes a roster, but he is definitely an interesting guy who comes off the edge with a lot of pep, a lot of steam. At linebacker, really feels like this team wants their linebackers to be able to man up in coverage. Like with at least drafting Christian Harris, they bring in Blake Cashman, who's a very, very fast linebacker who could cover a lot of ground. I don't know why, but Kevin Pierre-Louis he's a cat that just doesn't really get his opportunity to see the field. It's kind of a bummer because I think he's pretty solid. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I'd rather have him start than over guys like Christian Kirksey, Camus, I'm just gonna say KGH. Even JRM there, Reeves Maben. I'd rather have Kevin Lewis, Pierre Lewis be doing that. Wow, they got a lot of guys with 2 last names. Interesting. 2 words in their last names. Garrett Wallow's still there. He came from TCU. He switched from safety to linebacker, a bit of an undersized linebacker, but another guy that's very good at coverage. So I would watch for guys like Cashman, Harris, or Wallow. If Cashman and Wallow make the roster to be the sub package linebackers. Kirksey, Reeves Maben, they're not really coverage guys. You could say the same thing about KGH, but yeah. They bring back Malik Collins on the interior. That's all fine and dandy. Roy Lopez. He's depth at this point. Like, there was nothing encouraging about his rookie season last year other than he played a lot of snaps. That's about it. So I think this defense still has a long ways to go, but definitely a step in the right direction. I guess let's go ahead and get into my projected starters for the squad. Starting with the offense, I have Davis Mills. Rex Burkhead, I think he's going to outsnap Marlon Mack just simply because he can be used in the passing game. Brandon Cooks, Nico Collins, John Mechie, I think will return healthy. If not by the season opener, maybe within the first 4 weeks. Then you got Brevin Jordan, Laramie Tunzel, Kenyon Green, Justin Britt, AJ Cann, and Titus Howard. Looking at the defense, at edge, I got Grenard, and I'm gonna put Hughes here, man. I think they've signed the vet. I think they might still use Ogbo in a rotation manner. Then I got Blacklock and Collins there on the interior. Kirksey and KGH at linebacker, though if they have other guys like Christian Harris or maybe Blake Cashman, Kevin Pierre Lewis get more snaps at linebacker than those guys, then I'd be pleasantly surprised. You got Derek Stingley, then you have Steven Nelson, and I put Thomas there into the slot, and then I'm just going to list off Jalen Pitre and Eric Murray at safety because they're basically going to be both playing like split safeties. Maybe Desmond Keene gets in on that action. We'll see. Let's go ahead to my predictions for the Houston Texans. I got them going 5-12. Listen, I think this team could be better than 5-12, but I think they're a few injuries away from being worse. I think 5-12 is a very safe estimate when it comes to the Texans. I know that they don't exactly play in the toughest division of the world, though. I thought the Titans and the Colts did get better this year, and you could say Jacksonville got better this year too. So it's a division that got better, but still think they're a bit of a ways away. I think this team, if they win 7 games, I'll be stunned. I'll be shocked. That's definitely maybe the ceiling. Really depends on Davis Mills. For me, he's kind of a question mark. How much of a step forward do we think he really does take, and does this team have enough weapons, enough playmakers? Did they do enough on the offensive line? Is their defense going to be good enough to put Davis Mills in good situations where he doesn't really have to play hero ball? That's going to be the big question for me, but I got him at 5-12. I got them upsetting the Colts week 1. They did it to the Jags last year, and I called that. Dude, that was too easy. But yeah, I mean, they got to face the AFC West, which might be the best division in all of football. So that's not going to be nice. In terms of the NFC, they get what? The NFC... Is it the North, or do they get the East? I think they get the NFC East. Yeah, they get the NFC East. So luckily, they're picking apart the presumed weakest division in the NFC, which arguably... could be true. But yeah, no, I got them sneaking a win here against the Bears. See, at least they put players around Davis Mills. I don't feel like the Bears did that for Justin Fields. Who do I have them? Because I got them 2-4 in the division. Is it the Titans? I think it's the Titans I gave both wins to. Yeah, I think the Titans might sweep them this year. Doesn't help that they have the remainder of their division games here at the end of the season. So, like, you got teams like Tennessee Titans and the Colts who are going to be vying for the division. Those two teams are going to be vying. So I think that those are teams that could be playing real hard down the stretch. Facing the Chiefs kind of sucks. It really depends what Baltimore team we're getting. I'm not going to lie. My Baltimore projection is a mystery because you just don't know with Watson. But I guess we'll wait to talk about that till that video. I got the Dolphins beating y'all. Fins up, I'm a Dolphins fan. Can't help it. Listen, Texans, I say this in every video. If they do better than this, I'm willing to take that nice little, well, it's not little, that big wooden L I put back there, because I'm always ready to take the L. I'm a man. I don't mind being wrong, and I don't mind the difference of opinion. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. That's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing as always. Till next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.